Hello YouTubers, my name is Frederick Lopez and you're on a new movie review. I just got done seeing Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and I must say, wow. This is how you make a Star Wars film. I thought Force Awakens was good, but for those who like Star Wars, any Star Wars fans would appreciate this, but for those kind of left a little underwhelmed by Force Awakens, and maybe so some of the prequels, well, this is the Star Wars film you all have been waiting for, and it delivers. It is an original story, yet does fan service without ripping off another film, and that's what I like. It does it like the way George Lucas did. It brings new worlds, and I really like this approach to spin-off films. I wasn't sure what to think about Star Wars spin-off films, and with this, they wanted to experiment, release it, see people's reactions on whether or not they're going to make more. And I must say, I want to see more Star Wars spin-off stories, because this is a very well-made film. Yeah, I feel like this should have been Star Wars Episode 7. Like, seriously, this was fantastic, and I want more spin-off films, because it's nice to see that there's more facets in the Star Wars universe other than the Skywalker family. There's a larger galaxy at hand than we see in the saga films, so I really want to see what they do in the spin-off films. Also, Disney, get Sam Witwer and do another spin-off film called Force Unleashed with Starkiller. Maybe that's why you can have the Starkiller based thing in Force Awakens. Just please do a Force Awakens film, please. That and Boba Fett will be nice. But anyway, I really like the film, and this is going to be a quick non-spoiler review. I'm going to go over the cast, crew, and a small plot summary, which is pretty much at the beginning of A New Hope. And yeah. Rogue One is directed by Gareth Edwards. The screenplay is by Chris Weitz and Tony Gilroy. The music is composed by Michael Giacchino. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, stars Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso, Diego Luna as Cassian Andor, Alan Tudyk as K2SO, Donnie Yen as Chirrut Imwe, Wayne Jiang as Baze Malbus, Ben Mendelsohn as Orson Krennic, Forrest Whitaker as Saw Gerrera, Riz Ahmed as Bodhi Rook, Mads Mikkelsen as Galen Erso, and Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa, along with Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. So what is Rogue One, a Star Wars story about? Well, it centers around Jyn Erso, a rebellion soldier and criminal, who is about to experience her biggest challenge yet, when Mon Mothma sets her out on a mission to steal the plans for the Death Star. With help from the rebels, a master swordsman, and non-allied forces, Jyn will be in for something bigger than she thinks, as this sets up the epic saga to follow. So yeah, that's pretty much what Star Wars is about, and yeah, Gareth Edwards directs this, and you can tell he's a Star Wars fan. We're in that special era where Star Wars fans are making films, and filmmakers were inspired by Star Wars. You have a generation of filmmakers who grew up on the Star Wars saga and are now creating their own Star Wars stories. So he does a fantastic job, and there's a lot of love. He also directed Monsters, a short film, and then Godzilla. And I didn't really particularly care too much for Godzilla, but this film delivers, and I really like it. Chris Weitz and Tony Gilroy do a great job with the screenplay, and with the writing and the visuals, it feels like Star Wars. And of course, it's different from the prequels because it's already the Empire. This is a Star Wars around the time where, right before A New Hope, right before the original Star Wars, and I think that's why it has a Star Wars feeling, is because it's during the time of the Rebel Alliance versus the Empire and the Death Star being built. And you get to have a lot of stuff in that universe, and you get to have a lot of story elements explored before the original trilogy begins. But yeah, Gareth Edwards in the featurette said if he isn't going to do something different, then what's the point? And I agree. He makes an original story here, and he provides fan service. There's tons of stuff. If you're a big Star Wars fan, I mean like back from the VHS days, the original trilogy, you like the prequels, before Force Awakens, if you're a Star Wars fan, before all this new stuff from Disney, you're going to like this film. You're going to love this film. And that's one thing I have respect for. I like Force Awakens, but I thought it played it safe too much and retreaded on A New Hope. It was pretty much a loose remake of A New Hope in the way Superman Returns was a loose remake of Superman the movie. This film does something original while providing fan service, again, without ripping off a previous plot. It's entirely original, and I love it for that. Force Awakens and Rogue One are totally different films. This is a standalone film, but it is interwoven in the saga. So what's the best way to explain Rogue One? Here we go. Yeah, so it's a sequel to the prequel trilogy and a prequel to the original trilogy. So it's in between episodes 3 and 4. It starts with a prologue that is right after Revenge of the Sith, but then as Jyn Erso gets older, when you have Felicity Jones playing her, it's right around the time before Star Wars A New Hope. So yeah, the story is great, and then the actors. Felicity Jones does a fantastic job as Jyn Erso. Diego Luna gets time to shine. Yeah, my boy Diego Luna gets time to shine, and as well as my boy Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen, been waiting for a while for him to get a really good role in the U.S., and it's nice to see him in this role. It's very different, but yet you get to see some of his martial arts skills, and he can act, and it's great. He's a person who's attuned to the Force. Forrest Whitaker has some good moments. And then Ben Mendelsohn is just an evil bastard. I mean, you saw him as Daggett in Dark Knight Rises when Bane was talking to him. Just imagine that, but if he worked for the Empire and was a little bit less of a weasel, he was more intimidating and just really... The Empire is evil again, and you get a couple of surprises as well. And I won't go to those, but yeah, just go see the movie. But I like the dynamic of the characters. Now, I've been hearing that there isn't enough backstory in the characters. That could be true, but I really feel like for this story it doesn't really matter. You know what type of people they are. It sets it up. We didn't get a whole backstory on Han Solo when he helped out Luke, so it was fine with the characters here. Because the main character is Jyn Erso, and with that being the focus, with her and these rebels and people they bring along on their mission, that's all that matters, is a main character in her story. And it does pertain to it because her father's played by Mads Mikkelsen, and her father's pretty much the guy who built the Death Star. He was the guy behind the Death Star plans. And I guess maybe it was from the Geonosians. I don't know if they're going to acknowledge that or not, from Attack of the Clones, since they had the plans. But he's just imagine like the scientists who created the atomic bomb. And they created something, and then it's just like, yeah, this thing brings destruction. And they said, well, damn, we made this weapon now that can kill. That's how he feels about it. And I also like Jimmy Smits, Mom Mothma, and Bail Organa have a small role. And it's nice seeing nods to not only the prequel trilogy, but the original Star Wars as well. That's fantastic. The pace is a little slow in parts, but it's worth it, and it picks up. So if you have a high attention span, it's going to be a little slow, but not to the point where you're like looking at your watch. It's just going to be a little bit slow in parts. But it's well worth it because everything that happens in the film builds up to its climatic conclusion. That last hour, people have probably said this in other reviews, the ending is fantastic, and it feels like Star Wars. I like the design of the ships. They're very detailed, and some of it looked like it may have been models. I'm not sure, but it was just really well crafted. And that's one thing I like. There's been a lot of movies this year, and it's been a lackluster year, and it's nice to see a real blockbuster where there's a lot of movies with money put out to it. It's like a green screen kind of canvas just blowing up on the screen. This one, you get your bang for your buck. And something I have to say about Gareth Edwards, his direction, the scope is epic. It's grand. The AT-AT machines are huge. The Death Star seems ginormous. The fighting is intense. It's pretty much with the intensity of Saving Private Ryan. Not as intense with the gore or anything, but just as far as like the feeling of it, feels like a gritty, grounded war movie. And that's one thing I have to get to here, is that this actually focuses on the war aspect of Star Wars, which is not explored very much. And the Rebels, in previous films, it's always been black and white with the Rebels and the Empire, and this one is just like, there's shades of gray. Are the Rebels really good? Are they any better than who they're fighting, the Empire? And it brings that question of the consequences of war and right versus wrong, and how the lines begin to blur during war. And that is a fantastic element that is explored in this film that's not explored very much in the other Star Wars films. It makes it very different and solidifies this even more as a standalone film. Now, there's been talks about opening crawls being there or not. You just have to see the film. Pretty much, there is no opening crawl. There's a title sequence, and it's very different. I don't know if the other spin-off films are going to cover it, but to me, that is Star Wars. Even the video games and other spin-offs had like an opening crawl. So it's just weird not having an opening crawl there. But I guess I say that for the episodes in the saga, but it's just really weird. But the beginning and end As far as the editing is fantastic. Just the beginning and end move really, really fast to where I just wish they just slowed down, even if it's just a minute longer as far as a flow. But that's a minor nitpick, but what do I give it? I give Rogue One a 4.5 out of 5, a 9 out of 10, and an A. Rogue One is such a fantastic film. It's well crafted, and it deserves the Star Wars name, and it is up there with my favorite Star Wars. Probably might be my favorite prequel, right with Revenge of the Sith, and definitely up there with the original trilogy. This film, I feel like seeing Star Wars now. I like this film a lot better than I like Force Awakens personally. And I'm going to get some flack for this, but in my opinion, it makes The Force Awakens look like The Phantom Menace. Like, seriously, this is a well-crafted Star Wars film, and this is how a Star Wars film should be made. But that's the brilliant thing about directors and Disney having different filmmakers with the stories and the episodes, is the fact that you're going to get so many different visions of Star Wars. And you get to see different pilots maneuvering the vehicle of Star Wars and their interpretation of it. So you're going to have different films, and that's going to be unique and something I deeply respect and appreciate. The score by Michael G. The score is fantastic. The composer of this did the score for Mission Impossible 3 and the Star Trek films with Chris Pine, as well as Super 8 and Jurassic World. I loved his work in Mission Impossible 3. The score sounds fantastic in this. I didn't think I was going to like it as much. It doesn't have John Williams composing because he's working on the new movies, but they do have some of his songs, and the classic Star Wars themes that come in are in there when they need to be. And the music is very, very uplifting, and it kind of brings back hope, and this is probably the best time for this film to come out. With everything going on in the world and everything, you can't watch it without drawing some parallels. And that's not intended. That's just history repeats itself, and Star Wars is based on many things, World War II and everything like that, and this had that type of feeling, that war feeling, and it kind of brings hope. Save the dream, save the rebellion, as Forrest Whitaker says in the film, and you can feel it. Yeah, it's a very uplifting film, but I highly, highly recommend it. If you're a casual moviegoer, it'd be a good blockbuster. You don't have to watch the other Star Wars films that much. And then, I heard the sequel is going to be probably one of the greatest films ever made, called Star Wars from 1977. I want to watch it after I get done with this review. I'm going to watch Star Wars. Yeah, that's all I have to say. You're going to want to watch the original Star Wars after seeing this. And the CGI, there's some CGI stuff with certain characters. That's probably the best CGI I've seen since, some of it is a little cartoony, but Disney's been working on this since Jeff Bridges. Probably my favorite CGI with Jeff Bridges as Clue in Tron Legacy, and Arnold Schwarzenegger as younger T-800 in Terminator Genisys. So there's certain characters you're going to see a little bit CGI'd. It looks cartoony at points, but at certain points it looks real. And Disney kind of did a prototype version of what they're doing in this film with Tron Legacy and Ant-Man and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to see. And again, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to love this film. This film's going to put a smile on your face. Like, seriously, this is like one of the best Star Wars films ever made. This is Star Wars. I feel better after seeing this. I'm like, yeah, that's a Star Wars movie I wanted to see. And if you're worried about Disney, well, this one's not light. And if they continue on this direction, I'll be more than happy to spend money and see Star Wars films each Christmas or May. I wish they released some in May, especially this upcoming year. They could have had Episode 8 in May on this 40th anniversary. But anyway, an A, 4.5 out of 5, and a 9 out of 10. If you're a Star Wars fan, go see it right now. You will not regret it. It has certain moments. Just has everything. It's a beautifully crafted film. It's a beautiful film. It's a freaking beautiful film. I love this film. The characters, the writing, everything is great. And Tony Gilroy does some great work on the Bourne trilogy. So yeah, just go see it, okay? Whether you like Star Wars, don't like Star Wars, or disappointed by the prequels, disappointed by Force Awakens, or you just have your reservations everywhere like certain fans, just go see it. Like, seriously, it is a well-made film, and you will not regret seeing it. You get your bang for your buck, and the Force is extremely strong with this film. So go see Rogue One. That's as much as I'm going to get to with non-spoiler reviews, but yeah, go see it right now. And also, let me know your thoughts. Did you see Rogue One yet? Haven't you? What were your thoughts on Rogue One? Your favorite moments? What's your favorite Star Wars film? Where does it rank? Just different things. And then what type of Star Wars spin-off would you like to see? just let me know in the comments below. Feel free to like, subscribe, check out my other reviews, and yeah, I hope you all have a good I hope you all out there have a good day, and may the Force be with you always.